On what criteria? So on what criteria? No, nothing, Malavika. So on what criteria, fashion capitals, we call this place as a fashion capital. We have top five fashion capitals. Which are they? Which are they? Give it a guess.
Paris,
Yes, Paris,
New York,
New York,
London,
London,
Tokyo,
Tokyo, four,
Milan,
Milan, five. So these are the five fashion capitals of the world. So this is based on how much these places contribute to the fashion industry, right? How much economically they contribute to fashion industry, and by design, by fashion means how much they contribute to the fashion industry. Based on this, fashion capitals are, they become, each place become a fashion capital. Okay. And these places were in the fashion industry from the beginning itself. Okay. So they were interested in fashion. They contributed to fashion from the beginning itself, and in that way they become the dominating places in the fashion. Okay, and based on the contribution economically and by design means, based on the contribution they make, they became the top fashion capitals of the world. They are called fashion capitals of the world. And Delhi is the fashion capital of India. So we were discussing till that, right? Fashion capitals, which were the fashion capitals and all. So let's start from chapter unit 1, history of fashion. We will be doing a revision. If you have any doubt regarding any of the topic, you can ask me. We will have a discussion on unit 1 and unit 2 as much as possible. Okay. Is that okay? Hmm? Okay. So is the screen visible?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will switch to history textbook. Okay. So here you can see the PDF of your textbook. Hmm? So what all topics did we discuss in the beginning? In the beginning of the chapter, we discussed three terms. Which are those three terms? Fashion, apparel. We discussed what is fashion, what is apparel, what is costume, what is the difference between apparel and costume. Hmm? What is a trend, what is a style, right? Minute difference, right? In between all the terms or terminologies, there is a minute difference, and that minute difference can steal your mark. Hmm? So as we are having only 1.5 chapter, that is complete full unit 1, that is history of fashion, and you will be asked questions from the unit 3, elements of fashion, till fashion capitals. Hmm? So there will be 1 mark questions, there will be 2 mark questions, there will be 3 mark questions, and there will be 5 mark questions. Okay. So how will you answer 5 mark questions? How long will it be? So you can make it as long as you can. You can make it as short as you can. What is the important thing while answering a question? It is not how long the answer is. It is all about the content. While writing, a 5-mark question through 5 points. By only writing five more points, if you manage to cover all the important factors regarding that topic, then you succeeded in answering that question, 5-mark question. Okay. You can answer it in 5 points or 10 points. You can write a complete one-side page paper, one side of the paper in 120 words. You can write whether it is 120 words or whether it is 5 points or just 5 points or 10 points. The mark lies whether you have covered the important points, whether you explained or whether you talked about the major factors related to that particular topic or question. Okay. Hmm? Okay. So you go through your textbook, right? Your first chapter and third chapter, elements of fashion and history of fashion. So Meghna, I will explain the topic. Okay. Okay. So what is the difference between apparel and costume? Or what is apparel? Sana, what is apparel?
It's like a garment.
Yes, what kind of garment?
Uh, the garments that we use for
That
the
we use in our daily life, right? Anything that is made out of fabric. It can be a woven fabric, it can be a knitted fabric, it can be a leather, means an animal skin. Hmm? Or it can be, you know, it can be a piece of fabric which can be knitted, which can be woven, which can be crocheted. It can be leather, which is a wearable garment, which is made out of a particular type of fabric. So, what is a costume then? Steffi, what is a costume?
It is for specific occasions.
Yes, it is having a purpose, right? Hmm? So, party wear. Will you prefer to wear party wear all the time when you go out to have some to chill with your friends? Will you prefer to wear a party wear, a heavy embroidered stone worked salwar or an anarkali suit? Will you prefer to wear that when you go for watching movies or when you go to beach with your friends just to enjoy your time? Will you prefer to wear all those things? No, right? We will wear those things on a for a marriage, for attending a party, or for attending a marriage, like things, right? So a costume is something which is having a purpose or which is worn specifically on certain occasions, like the costumes, like the outfits that the actors used while playing a role in a drama. Hmm? So those are outfits are called costumes. And the one I'm wearing right now, the one you are wearing right now, all are called apparels. Okay. So what are the apparel categories? You will be taking a seminar on apparel categories later, right? We have men's wear, we have women's wear, we have children's wear, and there are several other subcategories, right? So we will be discussing that later. So what is the next topic? So you know how informations are collected, how historical informations from archaeological artifacts by archaeologists from the remainings that we get, historical or ancient remainings that we get, it will get examined by the archaeological department. And from the evidence or writings the ancestors left behind, we will get information about ancient period, what they used to wear, what was their diet, how they looked, hmm? How they looked, what were their lifestyle, hmm? What they used to wear, what kind of fabric, what kind of garment, everything is collected from artifacts. Hmm? So how will you, if we go to Greek costumes, if we take Greek costume as a Greek and Roman culture as an example, there is a lot of evidence in their temples and buildings that they left behind, which is still remaining untouched and destroyed. There are a lot of buildings like temples and buildings in Greek culture and Roman culture. From the columns, we understood what kind of columns they use and what kind of architecture they used to have. And from the sculptures that is there in these temples and buildings, we got to know about the type of garments they used to wear, right? The Greek and Roman culture. When it comes to Indian culture also, we got a lot of information about what kind of clothing ancient Indians used to wear from our temples, from our architecture. Hmm? There is a lot of historical temples across India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. There is a lot of temples, historical temples, which is having a lot of evidence about our culture, ancient Indian culture, what kind of traditions we used to follow, what kind of dresses or apparels we used to wear. Hmm? Our ancestors used to wear. Okay, what all religions existed during this period, who all worshipped what? Every evidence is there in the buildings, in the temples, in the architecture. Hmm? Okay, so what are the factors affecting fashion? What are the four factors affecting fashion? What are the factors affecting fashion? It is there in the slide. You just have to read. B, you should interact, guys. So we are having an online session, right? We are having an online session. We are not having an offline class. So when it comes to online class, your cooperation, your interaction, your response is very important to make sure that you are attentive. You are attending the class. You are hearing everything. You are understanding what I am saying. Okay. So for that, for me to understand that you are completely attentive, you should respond to my questions. You should be interactive. Okay, Nidhi, you were saying something. What are the four factors? Sorry, hello. What are the four factors? Four factors affected the origin of clothing. Steffi,
Protection, ritualistic, identification, adornment.
okay. Is that was that difficult to read for you to read it out from the slide? No, right? So why you guys were not responding? Why you guys were waiting for me to call out your name? It is very important you to interact and cooperate for us to have a wonderful, interesting session, which is an effective one. Okay, so these are the four factors affected the origin of clothing. So what is protection? How you can explain protection? So if a question comes for your exam, if a question comes like, explain any one of the factors that affected the origin of clothing, you can write about protection, you can write about ritualistic, you can write about identification, you can write about adornment, you can write about any one of those. So if you were asked to write about protection, what will you say? Sana, are you there, Sana?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, explain the factor protection.
Like the clothes protect us from heat, cold.
Yes. Clothes were used to protect us human beings from the external environmental factors like dust, um, weather factors like hot, cold, etc., etc., etc. So, in order to protect our body from the external environmental factors, we used clothes or apparels as a protection. Hmm? So, what will be ritualistic? Meghna.
In ancient times, some people believed that the claws, teeth of animals were considered as a charm or protection from any bad luck. And in
Okay.
Egypt, the lion tails and claws also considered as the symbol of vigor, superiority.
Okay. Okay. Good. So everything is fine, right, Meghna? You are looking tired.
It's okay, ma'am.
Okay. So identification. Identification. Who all we have? Anna. Identification. Unmute yourself, Anna. Okay.
About the social status, the rank, the marital status, and the about status in the tribes. It all includes in this
Okay. It all
identification.
comes in under identification, right? Hmm? So what is adornment? Malavika. Why is your video off, Malavika? Are you having any network issues or something?
Yes, ma'am, it's getting stuck.
Okay, okay. So adornment.
It is a self beautification because people wanted to represent themselves as beautiful in front of others.
Okay, so what all were the different types of adornments used by ancient people?
Adornment through clothes of the body,
Okay, when it comes to body, what are the different types?
body modification,
Hmm.
scarification, and body tattooing, body
Tattooing.
painting.
Okay, okay. So you should be aware of the definition. You should be aware of what all are the four factors. Okay, this can come as a 5 mark question. Who knows? Hmm? Okay. So who's this Muhammad? You don't belong to this class, Muhammad. Okay. So protection, ritualistic, that we discussed, right? So this is identification. So how identification is done in Indian culture? Any example for identification part? Any example? In India, married woman under Hindu culture, married women wear sindoor, right? True. tell others that I am a married woman. And they also wear thali, hmm, to show that I am a married woman. Origin and development of costume. Now we will talk about origin and development of costumes. There were five different types of costumes. Type of costumes were there are five different types of costume: draped, slip-on costume, closed stitched costume, open stitched costume, sheet costume. Okay. Can any question come from this topic? Steffi,
Yes, ma'am.
can any question come from this topic?
They can ask what are draped costumes or where they are from.
Okay, they can ask like they can ask 1 mark questions like just say what is draped costume, right? Simply define draped costume. They can ask 1 mark question, right? And they can also ask a 3 mark question like define and explain the terms or different types of clothing or costumes. They can ask like that. Hmm? Okay. So under draped costume, we discussed about Indian costumes. We discussed about ancient Near East costume. We discussed about Greek costumes, Roman costumes, right? We discussed about different types of costumes. So Indian costumes, which are the different types of Indian costumes? Indian costumes. Sana,
Andhriya, Uttariya,
Antariya, Uttariya,
and uh,
Antariya, Uttariya,
Kayyaband,
Kayaband. Okay. So Kaya Band. Then one more is there. What is Kaya Band, Sana? What is Kaya Band?
it is war on the waist.
Like a belt, right? What is Ushnisa?
It's a turban for men.
Yes, it is a headgear or turban used by ancient Indian men. Ushnisa. Okay. So we can say Indian costumes. Uttariya is there. Hmm? We have Antariya. Hmm? We have Kaya Band. And we have Ushnisa. Uttariya, what is Uttariya? Uttariya is an upper garment used by, which is a unisexual garment used by both men and women during ancient Indian period. It is an upper garment, top wear, right? And what is Antariya? Antariya is a bottom wear. So let me ask you, you should answer it genuinely. If a picture is given, it can be Antariya, Uttariya, Ushnisa, or a Kayaban. Will you be able to identify that this belonged to India? This is part of Indian costume, and this is this. This is Uttariya or this is Antariya. Will you be able to identify it if a picture is given in the question paper and ask you to identify it? Or if you were asked to draw Uttariya, draw and explain Uttariya, will you be able to do that? No. Okay. So go through the images. I'm not telling you to draw and learn how to draw it. You should be aware of this thing that Uttariya look like this.
Ma'am, you're not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you should go through the images. You should be able to identify it as Uttariya, Antariya. If even if you don't know the definition for Uttariya and Antariya, but you know how it looks. From that, you can at least write one sentence that Uttariya is an upper garment. Hmm? And you know how it looks. So it is a draped garment. Then you can say that it is a type of draped garment which was used by ancient Indians. Right? Is that possible? If you know how it looks, if you remember how it looks, if you remember the image of Uttariya and Antariya, will you be able to answer the question? Sana, will you be able to answer the question? If a question comes like, what is Uttariya? And you remember, you don't know, you don't remember the definition, but you remember how it looks or you remember the picture. Will you be able to answer that? Sana?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, right. From the image that you remember, that is there in your mind, you can say that. It is a draped garment. It is a top wear which belongs to which is used by ancient Indians. It is a unisexual garment. Am I right? You can do that, right? So please go through the images while studying, while reading your chapter, while going through it. Please also check the images. Okay. So okay. What is Antariya? What is Antariya? A few moments before, I just told you that you need to respond. It should be an interactive session, not just me talking something. You should understand what I am talking, right? So, what is Antariya?
It is a lower garment.
Lower garment. Is it a draped or stitched garment? Hmm? Is it draped or a stitched garment?
Drape.
Draped. Okay, good. What is Ushnisa? Malavika?
A turban for men.
Yes, a turban for men. So if it is asked like, if the question is like, what is Ushnisa? And it comes for 2 marks. Will you just write it like it is a turban for men? Will you answer like that? Or will you explain how it is draped?
Will explain.
Will explain, right? So you should read hmm, the topics properly. Ancient Near East. So under ancient Near East, we will be discussing about Babylonians, we will be discussing about Sumerian costume, and we will be discussing about Assyrian costume. All the three are like similar only. Okay. Hmm? So explain ancient Near East costume. Explain ancient nearest costume. So as I said before, if you are aware, if you have seen this image under the heading ancient nearest costume, and if you are aware of the factor that Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians used to wear similar kind of garments, then you will be able to answer it, right? They used draped tunics. It had fringes, and the fringes or length or density of the fringes differed as per their social status, to which class they belong, it differed. Okay, so what are Sumerians? Sumerian costumes. You have your textbook, right? I want you to read. I want you to read and understand. I don't want you to by heart the definition. You just need to understand what it is, how it differ from other costumes, whether it is Indian costume, whether it is Roman costume, whether it is Greek costume. I want you to understand how it differ from each type and how similar are they. If you are asked to state the similarity, you should be able to do that. If you are asked to differentiate, you should be able to do that. Okay. So just read. Always keep your book in front of you. Okay. Keep it open. We will have a discussion. We are having a discussion right now. I'm not asking you a question. We are discussing what are the possibilities. What kind of questions can come in your exam, and you should be able to answer it. It is just 1.5 chapters, right? So anything can come. Okay. So Sumit, who will answer it for me?
It is the most basic garment for both men and women.
Sorry, your audio is breaking, Steffi. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You were answering, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your audio were breaking, so I couldn't hear you.
Okay, it is the most basic garment for both men and women.
Okay.
It is a
They were
wraparound
great.
skirt.
Okay. Wraparound skirt. And what was it called? The wraparound skirt. Kaunakes, right? And and kaunakes were used by both Sumerians and Babylonians. But but the, but the ones used by the Babylonians were a bit evolved version, a bit modern version. If I say a bit modern version of what Sumerians used to wear, right? So read, okay? So if I take the textbook, so after reading the chapter, try answering the questions in the activity session, okay? If you have time, try answering the questions in the activity session, okay? So tomorrow you're having which subject exam? The exam starts on 12th, I guess, on Saturday, right?
Ma'am.
Okay. So yes, we have Uttariya here. We have Uttariya here. So Uttariya is an upper garment, cotton or silk, usually the material. cotton or silk, ornamented borders with fringes. Hmm? The way it was worn depended on the profession of the wearer. Hmm? Okay. Antariya of white cotton, linen, or muslin was the main garment for both sexes. So, what is Antariya? Antariya is a lower garment, right? Lower garment which is made of cotton, linen, or muslin that is used as which was a unisexual garment. Unisexual means used by both men and women. Okay, and we are talking about ancient costumes, Near East costumes, Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. So the most basic form of costumes for both men and women was a simple ankle length wraparound skirt. And what is that simple ankle length wraparound skirt called? Sana,
Kaunakis.
Kauna case. Okay. Then comes Babylonian. So what is the speciality of Babylonian costume? As we said, they also used Kaunake skirts only. And what is the speciality of Kaunake used by Babylonians? Hmm? What was the speciality? In this case also, both Kaunakes was used by both men and women. Right. Kaunake was used by both men and women. That means it was unisexual. Both sexes. That is unisexual. Hmm? And what about how identification was used in Babylonian costumes? How identification was used in Kauna case to represent social status or to represent high rank. So those of high rank wore elaborately draped large woven shawls edged with fringes and tassels, while lower ranks wore simple linen skirts. Okay. When it comes to high rank, they used elaborately draped ones with fringes, which is embellished with fringes. When it comes to lower ranks, they simply wore a linen skirt. Okay. Is that clear? Explain Babylonian costume, Malavika.
The kaunakes was transformed into drape look and it was worn by both men and women.
What
And
about Sumerian costume? In Sumerian costumes, was it unisexual or just one of the sexes used to
both.
wear it? Both. Okay, so in both Sumerian and Babylonian, kaunaki was a unisexual garment, right? Explain. Yeah, remaining.
Higher
Alavika.
ranked people wore elaborately draped large woven shawls edged with fringes and tassels, and lower ranked people wore simple linen skirts.
Okay, okay, we were. And why everyone's video is switched off? Explain Assyrian costumes. Anna, explain Assyrian costumes. You can see a shawl here. You can see a tunic kind of something with short sleeve he has worn, something like that. And he's also wearing a skirt, something, right? So what is, explain a Syrian costume. Look at
This,
your textbook. You can explain. You just have to read it. Okay.
this is a semicircular draped shawl with
Okay.
short sleeve tunic. Then rectangular shaped shawl was worn.
No, they are not mentioning anything about Kauna case, right?
No, no.
Okay. So they wear a shawl like a tunic, a rectangular piece of fabric like a short sleeve tunic, along with an apron covering their shoulders and a skirt. Okay. Egyptian costumes. Meghna,
Yes, ma'am.
any doubt till now?
No, ma'am.
What about others?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I asked Meghna because she had a doubt in this topic. So if you guys have doubt regarding any topic, you can just freely ask me, okay? Hmm? So, you know why I'm giving you a lot of seminars, why I'm making you take a presentation on different topics. Because for taking a presentation, you should understand that topic, right? For you to explain, if you can explain it to your friends only if you are thorough with it. If you understand only, you can explain it to others, right? So you will read it. You will read the topic. You will try to understand as much as you can. You will do some research, because if any of your peers ask any questions regarding the topic, you should be able to answer it, right? Hmm? So that is the purpose of doing presentation. That is the purpose of making you do presentation. So once you are thorough with the topic, trust me, you will never forget the topic. Till now, I remember the topic that I took as presentation. I did presentation during my 12th. So that is how good it is. So you will get really well and thorough with the topic. Okay. Okay. So Egyptian costume. I guess our time is up in 3 minutes. So Egyptian costume. We have just Greek and Roman costume. Egyptian costume. We have Shendi here. We have hike. We have Calasaris. What is Shendi? Are you guys doing your learning diary? Hmm? If you are not doing also, you can just tell me, because one day I will ask you to submit it. That's why I'm asking you. You should do your learning diary. It's not for me, it's for your own good. Hmm? You can just simply write a learning diary while I'm taking class. Okay. So if I said in Egyptian costume, the most important type of costumes are shanty, kalasiris, and hike. You can, at that moment itself, you can just write Egyptian costume. Then you can just grow like this, a flow chart like this, shanty, kalasiris, hike. And when I explain what is Shendi, you can just put a bracket and write in short terms what is Shendi, in short term what is hike. In short term, what is Kalasaras? So just before entering the exam hall, you can just go through your learning diary. You can just go through your sketches or your rough notes, and it will help you to understand it in simple words. Okay. Hmm? It will help. You can do that for every subject, not only fashion studies. Keeping a learning diary for all subjects can help you when you are doing the last minute revision. Whether it is biology, whether it is social studies, whether it is maths, whether it is language, whatever subject is, while studying also, if you keep a note, if you do a learning diary, this is what I learned. Egyptian costume, this. When it comes to different kind of draped costumes, we are studying draped costumes. We learned about Indian costumes. We learned about ancient Assyrian costume, ancient Near East costume. Under ancient Near East costume, there is Babylonians, there is Sumerians, there is Assyrians. After that comes ancient Egyptian costume. Then there is Greek costume, Roman costume. All these are examples for draped costumes. What is draped costume? It is one of the 5 different types of clothing that existed in the ancient period. Okay, you can connect the dots in that way. So I will ask you to submit your learning diary one day. Okay, and it is not a joke. So our time is up. So we are having another class at 3:15, right? So go through your textbook, try to read it. And if you have any doubt, ask me. Okay, bye.